All right, let's see. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. My name's Rodrigo. This is, as always, my sidekick, Smokey the Smoke Detector. And we're going to play Fire Emblem Engage. If you haven't played it, there are going to be some spoilers. Um, I'm specifically going to be like grinding, so I'm not advancing the story right now, so that you don't get like super duper spoiled. But there are going to be, just spoilers in the like if you're trying to like not know anything as you go in, you're going to see like different units. We might do some support conversations and things like that. But yeah, mostly we're going to do some moving around on a grid. I also don't know what this skirmish specifically is. Mullen says, "Hi, Rodrigo and Smokey. Hey, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it." Okay, the first thing you always want to do is go to swap spaces, and then have a look at the battlefield. The battlefield is obscured, so not a lot of help here. Are there enemies behind me? What's the what's the goal here? Route the enemy. Okay, there might be enemies behind me. So I'm probably gonna wanna run over here to this choke point. Oh yeah, there's probably like all kinds of enemies down here. Okay. Hopefully there aren't too many enemies behind me. Let's look at our unit selection. Okay, pretty good. I don't think there's anybody here that I don't want to field. Definitely want to try out Lapis, who I just changed their class to be a mounted unit. Um, so yeah, we'll see. Let's save so that we can save scum it if it just goes horribly awry. Evercaptor says, "I saw Engage and thought you were playing a Star Trek game." Yeah, it's it's fun to shout Engage. Lots of different people do it. It is like I do think that it was very purposeful that this Fire Emblem revolves around rings and it's called Engage. Like I think that was purposeful. It doesn't fit with like the themes of the game, but I do think that was on purpose. Malone says, "For once I got and noticed Twitch notification to catch stream from the start." There you go. All right, let me actually swap these units. Let's move my cleric to the middle. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, we'll try this. Save again. And we'll get into the fight. Player phase. Attack here. Yeah. Let's see what does the most damage. Looks at the steel axe. Chain attacks. attack this wizard. Should be okay. Evercaptor says Fire Emblem reminds me of D&D 4. Those days of fighters having as many options as wizards. Yeah, probably the closest D&D version to a Fire Emblem game is D&D 4th edition. Like very much, very like movement dependent, very like positioning dependent, and having some fun shenanigans like being able to move other units around the battlefield, like enemies and stuff. Some hazards. Really, this game doesn't have too many hazards that I've seen. They don't do that a lot. Evercaptor says also why I started giving a +1 to rolls if you knew what you wanted to do straight away on your turn. Yeah, sometimes you need to do that. The analysis paralysis is a normal symptom of games where you give players a lot of options, right? That seems a little much for a mend, so we'll let her keep that wound for now. We'll just move him over here. I'm worried that something's gonna run up and gank him. Equip a slim sword. Malone says, it always amazes me how close to original concept these modern Nintendo games still are. This can instantly be recognized as the same series as 1990 Famicom game. Yeah, totally. Fire Emblem has actually changed very little to its credit, right? It hasn't changed very much, which is good because that's what people like about it. People want to play this like tactical RPG, and sometimes I just get mad at like Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy was this like turn-based game that actually innovated a lot in the turn-based space, and they've basically gone out full on and said this game isn't turn-based anymore. We're not doing that. Like if you want turn-based, go play Octopath Traveler. And it makes me a little sad. But also, I guess it means I don't have to buy Final Fantasy games anymore either. Alright, let's get this lady up here, because I think her whole thing is that she can see farther than everybody else. Horse Online says, a Fire Emblem! Evercaptor says, agreed. Malone, it makes the older games more accessible too. Yeah, definitely. Horse 19 says, speaking of tactical games, I'm looking forward to Beacon and your contribution. Yeah, I think it's going to be good times. Rodimus says, oh, how's it going? Hope everyone is doing well. Well, thanks for stopping by, Rodimus. Okay, I'm going to do this instead. An attack from a distance. Hiya! Knifey strike. Oh, she got poisoned. So this game has this thing called like chain strikes, which basically it's like other units get in on it. Oh no. Seriously? Did turning her into a horse person? Wow, yeah. This character used to have that ability to like get in on attacks, but she lost it when I changed her class. Which is okay. It's like it's a good ability, but I was actually having like the reason why I changed her class to begin with is because I was having a lot of trouble positioning her. So I turned it into a cavalry unit, and I guess when you turn into a cavalry unit, you can't also be a backup, which is what it's called when you can like chain attacks in with other people. So that's too bad. Okay, let's take care of this guy. Um, yeah. See, you see how that like archer character got in on it? Clank, 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 clank. The main character too, I gave her an ability that basically allows her to do that. If she can reasonably get there, she gets that ability to deal extra damage. Okay, it really doesn't look like anything's gonna come from behind, so heals. Malone says it also tells more about current Square Enix as a company as Final Fantasy as a series itself. I mean, that's fair. Not like Activision, Blizzard, scummy, but not far behind. I mean, them deciding that they wanted to make it not turn-based is a creative decision, right? They're not like, I mean, they kind of are like, oh, turn-based is old and stupid. Um, but I can see it, right? It's like I remember this is how old I am. I remember when Mario 64 came out and Mario like kicks and punches and I was like, "Whoa, that's a weird decision. Why would they have Mario like kick someone or like punch someone? That's weird." But, we got used to it. It was a decision, right? And it's a risk. So it's like with Final Fantasy it's kind of a risk. You risk alienating the fandom or like the fans from, previous versions. Get him Kagetsu. But also, even if you do alienate those fans, because they're trying to make a game that looks really good and fancy, you're going to get new people in that are going to come into the franchise, right? So that's what they're banking on. There were enemies behind me. Ah, what the heck. Let's see. Horseman says Beacon is an upcoming RPG with Lancer slash 4E slash Final Fantasy influences. Yep, and I'm writing a thing for it. Evercapture says Final Fantasy became something different around the end of the 90s when they started to hand the reins of the franchise to the younger up and comers like Nomura. Yeah, basically, where's this thing? Okay. I'm going to send my archer to shoot it down. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen Advent Children. Advent Children is a like a 3D movie based on Final Fantasy VII. That's okay. She can handle that. And the main person, which I think was Nomura, saw that and said that's what combat in Final Fantasy VII should look like. And Advent Children has very dynamic action, like characters are like flipping and doing all kinds of cool stunts and riding on motorcycles and stuff like that. And like you can see that if you played Final Fantasy VII remake, you can see that that's a like very clearly something that they wanted to have, right? Um, Steel Dagger. Like that's very clearly something that they wanted the series to look like. Um, what does that do? Heals every turn. Ugh. Let's put this lady here. So yeah, that's like literally that is the point at which point Final Fantasy like changed directions and started heading towards something else. And meanwhile, somewhere else in the building, the Kingdom Hearts team was like making this like wacky hybrid um, yeah, this like wacky combat hybrid thing where you were like still selecting some options, but also what staffs does this guy have? Ooh, Restore has a really long reach. That's good. Let me restore her. She's kind of my weakest link. I'm trying to build her up. So yeah, if you look at the way that Final Fantasy, was it 16? Which one's the one with the boy band? That one, the one it played, or like the way that it played, that was pretty much that, right? It's like the Kingdom Hearts style of play. Except, with like Final Fantasy type graphics. Let's see, we got swords, so let's equip an Iron Lance. There's an archer, so I'm gonna keep my Pegasus Knight back. I might regret this, but let's send it back here. Everybody's an archer, yay! Let's see. Evercopter says the Chobo Racing microtransaction carnival was a very uncreative decision. Sure. Malone says it's part of that modernization in every sense. Games as a service and NFTs followed, whereas Nintendo's almost too traditional to be a modern game company. Yeah, you can't just have it. You can't have it in the middle, right? It's like it's either Nintendo who like shuts down Smash Brothers tournaments because that's our IP, or you have something like like Square trying to make NFTs and screw people over that way. You just can't get it in the middle where you're just trying to be a decent video game company. But yeah, FF Combat is same as Kingdom Hearts Combat. Nomura was originally the director of that series. Yeah. Evercaptor says, if I recall correctly, that's why FF9 is such a radical return to original themes of crystals and medieval fantasy, because that was the final handoff. Final Fantasy X was in development at the same time as the MMO. Everything at the wall, yeah. Kingdom Hearts combat was and is so good. I think the right blend to my taste, at least. That's good. Malone says Square was kind of always known for flashy visuals, even before they became our JRPG only company and merged with Enix. Sure, Lucina's Stand, Fire Emblem's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah, if you like stands, then this is the game for you, because pretty much everybody has a stand here. Can I go someplace where this character isn't just gonna get murderized by everybody? I guess if you don't want to get murderized, what you do is you murderize first. Okay, hopefully she can take whatever attack comes next. Which is going to be from this guy. We'll see. We might have to use those rewind mechanics. Yeah, let me put her on this side here. Use a vulnerary. I'll put her here. So that there isn't like a clear... Enemy phase! Oh, yep, there were more enemies back there. Note to self. Should have just gone all the way back. Horse09 says the best defense is a good murderize. Yeah, we'll see. Oof. Okay, nobody else attack her. Like that is always rough when you're trying to like build up a character, because the way to earn XP is to attack, so you have to put them at risk. And yeah, specifically, they're not very strong or tough, so they're gonna take a lot of damage. So as long as you make it through a skirmish and they don't take a ton of damage, you're okay. No! Ugh. Okay. Okay, I am just going to time crystal myself all the way to the beginning of this. Just forget it. Let me see if I can just reload a save. That's probably faster. This is how I play Fire Emblem, and this is how a lot of people play Fire Emblem. They're just like, okay, well, this didn't go my way, so let me restart it from the beginning. Hey, Saint JW, good to see you. Rewind is also in TMNT Retro Collection. Yeah. The time crystal is actually it's nice. It's I forget which one was the first Fire Emblem to do it. Three Houses definitely had a rewind mechanic, and they basically like Fire Emblem is a really solid franchise, because it really feels like the creators have like their hands on the pulse of what players want, and it's like everybody's like always safe scumming their turns, right? So they're like, well, instead of you having to turn off your game or like restart or whatever, what if we just give you an option to just do that, right? You can just restart your game, it's fine. Okay. So what I'm gonna do instead of moving forward is moving backward, which should be fine. No enemies there. I wonder if they spawn later. Yeah, actually, wow, this is really good because you can use terrain to block enemies. Right there. Everybody move and wait. Drag the enemies to the back. Block it. Not with your face. Stab 'em. Yeah. Malone says, "Oh, what does alter headwear do? I changed my hat." Malone says, "I'm kind of in a mood for stance. Just started to watch latest JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on Netflix. Sure." I was talking to Matthew and Steven about this game yesterday, and from Major Spoilers. And I was like trying to explain what the rings were, and those guys are not familiar with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Um, at least not familiar enough. I think maybe one of Steven's kids watches it, but I was like, so these guys are kind of like Force ghosts from previous games, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I get that. I'm like, all right, yeah. Evercaptor says, honestly, rewind is such a good mechanic. Everywhere I've seen it, Emblem, Forza, Motorsport, and Braid, and really sell me on rewind as a mechanic. The Switch emulators too. Sure, yeah, totally. Um, half cover is like 5 AC. Evercaptor even alter headwear and en español. Matthew might be familiar with JoJo. I think maybe I don't know. He might have run across it, but it's not the sort of thing he'd seek out. 1 second. There we go. Let's see. Um, si lo quieren poner en español, voy a tener que acordarme de todo el vocabulario militar, como la caballería, la infantería y obviamente los magos, como en las armadas de verdad. Let's see. Oh no, it's fine. It's like there's not much to do with those points, so I'm like, yeah, trying to get people to redeem them. Let's attack this little pony. Ooh. Dang, the longbow gives you such ludicrous reach. But yeah, better take out the ponies on the back. Get out of here, pony. Let me stab this wizard. Oh, 17 damage. I like this guy who doesn't do any damage better. I have someone else stab the wizard. Surely I know exactly who should stab the wizard. Evercaptor says, honestly, I'm so used to units being color-coded. It took a while to realize some of your guys are blue and some are red. Yeah, they're all different colors. But all of my guys have this little blue circle around them. So, if you can see, it's hard to tell. It's hard to see it. But yeah, my units have a little red circle or blue circle around them. Let's give ourselves some breathing room here. Yeah, unfortunately, I've kind of pancaked myself in here and don't have a way to get a healer over to... Yeah, that's okay. I'll just, she'll just do a vulnerary for now. Boop. Yeah, these guys are tough. They're like level 19, and most of my guys aren't level 19 yet. Like, they're about to get there. Okay, I don't like that. Let me see if I can get this. Although, is that going to leave? Nope. That should be fine. Let me see if I can get this knife guy here to leave us alone. Yeah. Blinding flash. Husha! Yeah, so Fire Emblem is like this very like European, like, you know, medieval Europe series of games, but they can't help themselves. Like, there's always at least some like samurai or like Japanese looking characters, which is fine. You know, it's like if you're from Japan and you're putting stuff into your story, by all means. I think this won't turn out to be a terrible idea, but we'll see. Malone says it's like rock, paper, scissors with the most obscure guys of Legion of Superheroes level superpowers, but instead of 3 options, there are dozens. Sounds like what Matthew likes. What does? JoJo? I mean, it does kind of like, it's not, unlike me, it's not a franchise that I feel Matthew would specifically not like. But I tried to watch JoJo stuff and I got real tired of it, which is too bad because actually my nephews like it a lot. And I wanted to talk to them about it, and I'm like, man, I could not get through the whole thing. I watched the entirety of like the first season, and then in the second season, I was like, no, no, thank you, and haven't watched anything else. Yeah, these pews are actually really helpful. Do I need to worry about this guy? Probably not. Oh, wait. This guy's gonna get blocked, right? Okay, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, there are some visibility issues. Um, but once you get used to the game, you don't have to. Um, you kind of get used to the way that the game does things. So I was like, okay, like even though it's hard to see now, I know what cues the game is trying to give me. Oh, if you come for Etie, you better not miss. This is like Etie is like my strongest unit. Even better than like the main character. Like I have like decimated battlefields with Etie, which is why I'm trying not to use her too much because she ends up being higher level than everybody else. I think there's nothing else back here. So, oh, hang on. Where's my sword girl? Sword girl, can you make it over there? Oh, she can. Okay. I'll just move ETA down here. What am I looking at? Okay. Yep. Better keep your sword out. You know, in like how cats teach their babies how to hunt, like lions and stuff. They like catch something and like hobble it, and then like they let it go so that the kitten can like catch a wounded animal. That's basically what I'm doing with this character. Is like everybody like stabs something and they're like, okay, okay, Lapis. It's like in that one she didn't even take a swing because the like auto attack from the main character happened. I'm gonna move this character one back, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and engage her and use her super duper attack to clear out at least one of these flyers. Yep. Bang, 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 bang. Evercaptor says every episode of JoJo's felt like 2 hours to me. I enjoyed it, but it takes a lot to watch it, and I rarely have as many spoons. Yeah, I found it exhausting. Malone says it's a great if watched in short bursts. I wouldn't try to read or watch all of it. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Um, Evercaptor says I did just buy the Star Trek TOS full journey on Blu-ray. That's cool. I saw a season of Enterprise when I was in Germany with Ra, and I have a Star Trek bug. Oh, nice. Um, that's a Sea of Red attack range. Yeah. It's like, who can get to this person? Everybody. But that's okay, because Pegasus units are very mobile. So just have to end up someplace reasonable. Are there any and there aren't even any archers, so should I freeze someone? Eh, I'll save the freezes for like when it really matters. This is very much how I play Fire Emblem. I'm just like, hey, let the enemy come to me. I don't want to deal with it. You guys worry about it. Leave me alone. A a surprising number of the party members you get are children. So I don't hate that. I think it's it's kind of fun to have like these like war orphans or whatever. But yeah. Oh, something can get to her. Is it a knife guy? Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about with visibility. I forgot that this is my knife guy. It's like he's so dark that I either forget about him or I forget that I'm gonna let him hang out here and attract some attacks. Who needs a heal? Okay. That sounds like what I call my Go Nagai BS Super Robots plus main character team in Super Robot Wars. Somehow they got so good I don't even need to use half of what they could. Yeah, me too. Like there's a way to make like forge extra rings and I haven't done it because I kind of forgot about it. I watched a YouTube video about it today and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this whole thing." But I haven't needed it. It's like I mean, I do like the moment that one of my troops gets killed, I like reset the whole thing. But um, most fights have gone pretty well. Iron Axe is good. We'll wait for them to roll in. How dare you? Oh, no damage. Get him. You get him, Jade. I really like the characters. I really like the individual units. There's a lot of options to have like ladies in the battlefield, which is something that Fire Emblem has gotten like progressively better about. Like it started out, I think even in the first Fire Emblem, there's like girls, but there used to be a lot more of a thing where it's like, oh, the girls are spellcasters and the boys are fighters. But now, you have like heavily armored ladies. You have obviously, I mean, you can decide whether to count the main character or not, but yeah, it's like it still works. Okay, let me move back here and attack something. That's fine. Okay, I could probably heal her halfway through this. What about this guy? Oh, that's my guy. I'm like, what about this guy? That guy all the way on the right is like, why is it not letting me attack that guy? He's like, oh, that's my guy. I keep forgetting. He's so good at hiding. If I hit him with this, it won't kill him. There's only one that's gonna kill him outright. But she's gonna take the damage first. Rah! Rah! Okay. Let me get my assassins out into the crowd. Chain attack! Hiya! Kill the pony! That's probably not helpful. I'm going to bring him around this way and see if I can pull some of these guys off of the main column. And hopefully this guy will survive. I guess I can get him over here away from any issues like that. Let me heal... my swordy girl. She's gonna take some hits. I should have probably just held off with that because only one thing can reach her now. I could just press forward. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Let me... get this guy here. Biggity bow! Let me chuck a hand axe at this guy. Hoip! Get him! Malone says, oh, I got a Twitch ad of Fire Emblem. How appropriate. Nintendo has been really pushing this game. I think after the success of... Uh-oh. Oh. I think after the success of Three Houses, they were like, yeah, Fire Emblem can sell in the United States. Like, because I talk about Fire Emblem on social media and stuff like that, have been getting like non-stop material about Fire Emblem. Oh, geez, that's not good. Okay, let's see if we come over here and engage. It'll do some damage. Mullen says that was bound to change with how popular Fate became. Bring on the plate armor girls. Yeah. Ivercover says, sorry to not stay long. I'm popping back to Persona 3 Portable, back into non-dungeon days. Good luck with your ongoing conquest. Thank you. See you around, Evercaptor. Malone says, once they figured you could sell Miyamoto Musashi, Jeanne d'Arc, Richard III, and Gilgamesh as anime girls all in the same game, it was game over. Okay. And it stays engaged. Oh, nice. How could you do a thing and not have that? Yeah. Why did she take so much damage? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I still have a healer that can go, but he's definitely going to be in very much in harm's way. So what I need to do is cover. Okay. Yay! I got 1,000 Gs. Okay, who's still awake? Okay, this should work. Oh no, this is the enemy's health. I was like, how did they drop my health so low? So clearly there are some visibility issues, and also, of course, some human error issues, right? Um, yeah, I was freaking out. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna lose this whole thing, but no. She's got plenty of health. Let me see if I can, again, try to mend the sword girl, because she's the one that I'm trying to... Trying to get her to level up. Should I just let this one come at me? Yeah. Let's see if anyone else comes out of the shadows. Oh no. Well, at least they're attacking in melee for some reason. Good job, wizard. You definitely, if you're a wizard, what you want to do is get right in melee with, not just with a swords person, but a sword fighter who has like glowing angel wings and is surrounded by magic. Like, that's a good idea. That's definitely what you want to do. Okay. Let me see if I can soften something up for her. I wonder if you get less XP if you deal less damage. Alright, go get him, Sword Girl. Yay! Easy pickings. Yeah, also got a break on him, so when you see that thing that says break, that means that the enemy dropped their weapon, and they can't use it anymore to counterattack. Uh-oh. Good thing I dropped those doubles. Okay, gonna come over here. Just do a regular old attack. The good old steel axe. Boom. Ascension W says, forgive my ignorance, but is this a JRPG type thing? Are you talking about the game I'm playing? Or were you talking about something else? I'm sorry. Malone says it is, but it's also a turn-based tactics game, kind of a mashup. They call these strategy RPGs, I guess. Yeah, it's a turn-based tactical game. So and yeah, it's also an RPG from Japan. So it is in fact a JRPG. It just has the additional thing of tactics on it. What can get me here? How about here? Yeah, I'm playing it really careful. It's like I want enemies to attack this character so that she'll gain levels, but also I don't want her to die. So I'm gonna keep kind of playing defense on her. Bam! Oh. What? That's weird. This game actually doesn't have very many bugs. Like looking at Fire Emblem Engage and the way it looks, right? It's like you know what? One of the things that sold me on this game was this. Like you select a unit, the characters look like really cool, really crisp, like kind of have like a bit of a cell shaded look, and like just this animation when you select them, I was like, this game looks fantastic. Like forget the big flashy explosions or whatever. It's just like there's just so much personality, right? It's like that's what I want out of my Fire Emblem game. I wanna feel like I'm controlling a whole bunch of like weird little medieval guys, right? And it's like, yeah, look at this character's personality compared to this character's personality, right? Comes across completely 100%. So good. Um, and yeah, the game looks great, and it makes me feel sad for Pokemon because um, you can't, like, people were like, well, maybe the Switch's capabilities can't handle it or whatever. You can have a great looking game on the Switch, right? It's like Pokemon doesn't give itself any of the things that it should, um, for dumb reasons, right? For money reasons. But you could have a game that looks really good. Let's restore. Nope. Let's see. Uh, Aesthetic flavor is definitely on the JRPG side, even if this had some D&D style Western fantasy mixed in. Yeah, Fire Emblem is very much like it's Nintendo's. It's kind of Nintendo's Final Fantasy, right? If you ever played the original Final Fantasy, um, it was very Western. It was like Final Fantasy is literally based on D&D. The main characters were just like classes. They didn't even have names. So yeah, absolutely. This is because Fire Emblem. I feel very much is based on like Final Fantasy is like the progenitor of all these games. And I'm saying Final Fantasy One. Like when I say Final Fantasy, I don't necessarily mean the series, although obviously that as well. Um, but yeah, so this is nice. I have a character who can make doubles, and first off, the doubles aggro, so enemies attack the doubles first. But second, the doubles can like block and counterattack. Like they have one hit point. You can see down there in the hit point that they only have one hit point. But if they miss, then the double just can super waste them. The only problem is that nobody gets XP. They die in one hit if you actually hit them. The only problem is that like nobody gets XP if the double kills someone. But it makes things easier for you. Okay. Let's not waste that, but we'll do it here in a little bit. Sword Girl. Can you get this guy? No, that's gonna put her in range of that archer, and I don't want that. Easy picking, Sword Girl. That works. Yay! So she's not level 2. She's like sword, like it's like she's a like level 6 sword fighter with like 2 levels of cavalry. Let's see. Get over here and attack with the thunder. Yeah, we'll go with spears. Actually, bang, 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 bang. Horseman says, would you say this is a good Fire Emblem game for beginners? I've always been curious but intimidated. Yes. This is a good Fire Emblem game for beginners. The reason why Three Houses was a good Fire Emblem game for beginners as well is because it's really cool and there's lots of stuff to do. This is a good Fire Emblem game for beginners because it's like extremely straightforward. Like, you can just go from mission to mission to mission. Also, there's a lot of quality of life stuff that's good in this one. One of which is that like units are a little bit tougher. In previous Fire Emblem games, the like not tough units, like the weak units, were extremely weak. Like archers and mages would just like die if they like tripped over a rock. Here they're not. Here they're actually like pretty strong. They can take a hit and still be okay. This isn't gonna fully kill it, which is sad. So yeah, I would recommend this for beginners. It's got like a low floor and a high ceiling, right? So the emblem mechanic, right? These little ghostly guys from previous games. First off, you don't need to have played previous games to play it. So that's good too. Don't be intimidated by the fact that like characters from previous games are in it. We'll just hit him with an arrow from here. So don't worry about that. But the emblem mechanic gives it a lot of depth. So what you can do is, once you get an emblem, just stick it on one character and don't ever take it off, and those characters will like continue to level up together and they'll be fine. But if you start messing with it, what you can do is you can actually build really sick, like just really sick combos with your characters, because you can learn stuff from different emblems and like combine their abilities. And you can like get some really cool stuff going. Like for example, this character. This is one of the characters that can chain their attacks with others. And she starts out just like as an axe attacker. But using some emblems, I taught her how to use a bow. So now that she can use a bow, she can use that ability at range and like at farther range, because I gave her a long bow. So that means that instead of being able to, with axes you can do a ranged attack because there are throwing axes, but instead of being able to attack out to 2 spaces, she's able to attack out to 3 spaces. Which, you know, it's like the chain damage is like like small increments, right? But they're good. It's like good damage. Okay. I do more damage with a sword? And it doesn't look like I'll be able to break him. Okay, well, sword it is. See? Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha! Got him. Malone says it does have the polish that that's Nintendo production values. Yeah, definitely. Horseman 9 says, I truly don't understand the argument about the Switch's performance issues RE Pokemon when Breath of the Wild was released for the frickin' Wii U. Agreed. 100%. Malone says, Persona 5 is on Switch, pretty much the best looking JRPG ever. No excuse to not look good if you got money and budget. It's a good thing that you corrected it here. Time and budget, right? That's the issue. The issue is that Pokemon doesn't give itself the time to do things like that. Are any of my ninjas awake? In most of these skirmishes, the enemies come to you, whereas like when you're going through a map, there'll be enemies that are like stationed in different places. Um, so in those cases, you have to plan a little harder. In these ones, you can kind of build yourself a phalanx and just let the enemies come to you, and they will come, and they won't be smart about it. This character's ability is that it gets more powerful if it uses an item. So I'm just going to give her an item and set her here, and see if the enemies decide to attack her. They probably won't, but it'll be fine. Amanda's too strong. Yeah. I'm going to come over here. And we'll stick her here. Dodge it! Or get super hit. Oh no. Oh, that's not good. I might have to do this turn over if those archers start smelling blood in the water. Oh, okay. They decided to attack the large armored mounted opponent instead of like the very vulnerable. Oh no, they're going after it. Oh no, no they're not. Okay. Whew. Good thing a lot of the time the enemy tactics are not sound. Let me see. Can I just smash this guy here? Is there something that's gonna give me... No. Yeah, definitely thanks enemies for shooting the knight and not my like very poorly protected rogue. Although, I don't know, maybe the computer is like, yeah, archer versus rogue, rogue wins, maybe, because they're very agile. The knight suddenly grew quite strong. Everyone was impressed with her. Okay. This is going to be very risky. I'm going to try to just kill this jerk over here. Lapis! Ha! Shiggity shiggity shwa! Yeah, good job. Now that'll reveal more stuff down here, and I don't see any enemies down here, so these two might actually be the last enemies. So, let me see. Was there somebody else that I'm trying to get leveled up? Yeah. Fathoom! Scrackadoom! Not the other one wearing a bathrobe, yeah. He kind of is wearing a bathrobe. Let's see. Okay, I definitely want to heal this guy, so I'll get ETA out here to shoot this man. Yeah, so like Three Houses had like the adjutant option. This one doesn't. And it doesn't have like Three Houses also let you control like troops. Like there would be like troops that would be condensed into your character. All right, we did it. Okay, let me I'll be right back. And then we'll keep playing Fire Emblem and talking about stuff. Okay, let's see. Malone says, I like about this that enemies aren't super spongy with 10 times your HP makes it dynamic and movement actually matters? Absolutely. I play triangle strategy. Like, I played the triangle strategy demo, and I hated it. Like, the enemies were so tough. It was so tough to get one enemy to go down. Like, Fire Emblem's, like, hit point totals are pretty close to perfect. Like, you see a big heavy opponent, you know is gonna take a few hits to get them. You see a light, like, run around type of opponent, you know they're probably gonna be a little bit less dense. So yeah, it's like Fire Emblem gets it right. I hate it. Like, you know me, I'm like, look at this, right? It's like I am the sort of person that you market a turn-based strategy game, especially one that is reminiscent of Fire Emblem, and I did not like it. And it's probably because Fire Emblem really gets that mix right really well, and Triangle Strategy, at least the demo, just didn't. And it made me less interested in the demo. And like, I tweeted this a while back, or maybe I posted it on Tumblr, but I only have so much patience for medieval fantasy, and like nowadays playing a Fire Emblem game just takes up all of it, right? Like, Fire Emblem's I wonder if that's my wife or the cat. Hang on a second. It must be the cat. The cat's very smart. Sometimes it takes human form and tries to trick me, but the only thing it knows how to turn into is a 7-foot tall ice cream man. So I'm like, I'm not gonna fall for it because ice cream men aren't even a thing anymore. A lot of these characters are not getting played. This character is still level 1. I like played him very early on and then I didn't keep playing it. Look, he's a fine character. I know, like, he's kind of a daddy and a lot of people like him because of that, but I didn't want to play him. If I ever do a replay, maybe I'll field him. Okay. Save and depart. I do like this animation of everybody running. If you remember in Three Houses, there was that animation of Byleth running. I like that they've, made one for every character, so now you can see all of them like running across this field, including I think its name is Somni, but you can rename them. So I renamed him Fabu, which is this little guy that's following me around. I have to go feed him. In the grotto. So I don't know what the deal is with this little guy, and I don't know if they're gonna tell me what the deal is, but I know one thing: he likes eating grapes, and if you give him enough grapes, he craps out crystals. See? I don't think those are supposed to be pooped out. I think maybe it's just that he like exudes them from his body, but because of like sort of where the generator is placed, and like they don't come out of his head or anything, so it really looks like he just poops them out, which is very weird. Yeah. See? So weird, right? Again, I feel like Fire Emblem is not the sort of game where they would like put in like a weird little poop joke like that. I think it's like not on purpose. Oh, I gotta check if I have support conversations. I do have support conversations. This is voiced, but I don't have the voice turned on. She drove them all away. The Iron Wall. So this is a bit of a spoiler, I guess. But the characters from different countries a lot of the time have names that sort of match. So Lapis, Jade, Diamant, Amber. Where's Amber? And Alchrist, although I don't know what Alchrist is, but Amber, Diamant, which means diamond, Lapis, Citrine, all of those characters are from the same country, so they're all named after like gemstones. And then like there's some from this country that are just French, so like Alfred, Etienne, Boucheron, all of those guys are from the same country. Chloe. But then also the characters from one other country are all named after plants. So there's Ivy, and she's really the only one because I think her attendants, who are like that Japanese-looking sword guy and Zelkov, who's like that other assassin, I don't think they're supposed to be from that country, so they don't have the same naming conventions. So it's interesting. I've had these conversations for Boucheron and Vander for a long time, but I haven't done them, and I kind of don't want to do them. Hello, Jean. Or Jean. Have I startled you? Is it because I'm the first dark-skinned person you've seen in this game? That all sounds pretentious. Zelkov is nice. Alchrist is all the crystals. Yeah, I mean, it does have the name, it does have the word Christ, which is like crystal, so yeah, maybe. Um, Malone says, it is what it is, same with SRW, I like Gundam and want to have a few of them every time, but don't need a 5 mecha team from all 35 series of it. I'd rather have a good amount weird old super robots, half of I've never heard of instead. Keeps it wacky and fresh. Yeah, totally. I mean, Fire Emblem gives you tons of troops, and the reason for that is that back in the day, it was almost impossible to get through the game without losing some of your troops, right? You couldn't save scum the way that you can now. So if you would lose troops, and so the game would like continually give you more troops so that you could have more people in your party. Um, Nowadays, because characters are much more survivable, and because people can look up guides and figure out what characters are weaker or could potentially get hurt, um, or are just like not as tough. Like you don't end up losing as many characters or any characters, and so what ends up happening is you end up with a ton of characters, and they haven't instituted like any sort of like XP share, so you end up with a ton of characters, and that's your life now. You have a ton of characters. Malone says, yeah, used to have that permadeath mechanic until no one wanted to lose their favorites. I actually have permadeath turned on, um, which is why I will like reset stuff, which is like it's just like making it harder on myself, I guess. It's like, what's the point of permadeath if you're not allowing the characters to die? And the point is, it sets you back, right? You have to like either rewind with the crystal or restart the whole thing, like I did earlier. And I like that. That's a level of difficulty that I actually like. Let's train with some soldiers. So the nice thing is that you can do stuff like that, and you can create a game experience that is going to work for you. Again, we've talked about Pokemon earlier, and people are like, why doesn't Nintendo just put in the rules for Nuzlocke? Or why doesn't Nintendo give us an option for playing the game at a harder mode? And they can determine that, right? They can determine what a harder mode is. But we want to play Pokemon in hard mode. And what ends up happening is Nintendo won't do it. And the reason why Nintendo won't do it is because Pokemon isn't just a game with... it's not just a one-player game. It is also like an online competitive game. And that means that you would have that competition of people who want to do it in hard mode, people who want to do it in easy mode so they can get whatever Pokemon they want. What is the post game also going to be in hard mode? Does it matter? So it's a more complicated question than it would seem. Let's see, Chloe. Yep, this is pretty much the dream team. They're not gonna give me these two, but that's okay. I don't need them to be in every fight, and they're pretty good high level already. I wish you could see a unit's like absolute level, because if you see how its class is Swordmaster. Let's see, where am I? See how the class is Swordmaster? So Swordmaster is an advanced class, so it just shows you its levels, his levels in Swordmaster. It doesn't show you like all the levels in like melee sword or whatever the basic unit is called. So, it's not great. It's hard to tell sometimes, but yeah, let me swap my units. Horseman says, that's how I play XCOM usually. No saves coming turn to turn, but I'll restart missions if someone dies and I don't want to lose them. Yeah. It's... I don't know. I don't know why that's enjoyable, but it is. I think it's, because we're used to playing games where you had to do that. But yeah, totally. That's also how I play XCOM. Okay, let's try this. Who's this? Oh, it's Lynn. Or sorry, it's Anna. Okay, let's try that. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make a beeline for this thing. That's going to give me some bonuses. Um, Actually, let me switch these because we're going to want ETA closer to them with her bow. So yeah, we'll try to make a beeline for that and see how it works. Let me get that slim sword, which I think is going to reduce the likelihood of getting critted. So that's another thing is like another sort of quality of life thing is that the heavy units used to be so slow. Like they could only move like one or like two squares was as far as they could move. But nowadays they can actually move, which is nice. I'll equip a sword for now. Bring our main character up. Magician. Pegasus Knight. I'll try that. Yeah, again, see how like that character just immediately left the like that special square that gives them bonuses. It's like in skirmishes, right? In like non-story missions, like the characters just are just like gunning for you. They just come at you as fast as their movement allows, even if like it's not like a good idea or like tactically it's not very sound. Oh, nice. There you go. Oh, look at that. Lapis. Let's see. Malone says fast movement almost never makes this kind of games worse. Yeah, yeah. I think when you have such a gulf between like your cavalry units who can move like 8 squares and your heavy units which can move 2 squares, like what's gonna happen? You just stop fielding the heavy units. You're like, well, there's no point to me fielding this character if this character's never going to get to a point where they can actually like hurt somebody. Get him, Yunaka. Dodge it, dodge it. There you go. If you scream dodge it at it, it's her chance to dodge it goes up. That's confirmed. Confirmed in-game tech. Yell at your character to increase their evasion. Skabloink. Oh yeah, let's sit ATA up there for now. She can keep it warm for whoever we end up putting up there. Divine Dragon really hasn't gotten a lot of play recently, so let's move her up and have her attack with a Libération. Oh, wow, that's very low. Is she gonna take a huge hit? Nope. Okay, well that's good. That was nothing. That was kind of a wasted turn. That's okay. Uh, okay, I'm gonna take the risk and move my wizard up here. Yeah, Bascorch. How brutal are the deaths in this one? I mean, I guess it depends what you mean. Like, the animation of them dying is, like, not too bad. But if you say how often do people die in this one? It depends what difficulty you're playing in. Like, a lot of people play in, like, maddening difficulty or whatever. Like, I don't. I haven't. I'm playing in, like, normal difficulty. I have friends who are like, I always play in like the hardest difficulty, and I'm like, okay, but like, shouldn't normal difficulty be the difficulty that most people play in? I've only ever there's like a few games where I played them in normal difficulty and I gave up. One of them was XCOM or XCOM 2, where I was like, nope, this is too hard. I can't do it. Um, and the other one was I started playing Wolfenstein. Uh, Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, and I'm really bad at first-person shooters, like really bad. So I was like, okay, no, I have to like. Oof. Yeah, I do not want to be in range of the archer here. Move her up. Guess there's no harm in just... Because, yeah, her, like, disengage ability lets you hit something anywhere. Like, anywhere on the field. You can just get it. So, I'm just going to get this archer, because archers are annoying. I should have probably gotten the wizards, because those guys deal a lot of damage, too, but... Part of the reason why I field so many archers is because archers are really strong. Um, it's the switch voice control only if you know the... Yep. um, I've only played Shadow Dragon, which was pretty debilitating whenever you lost someone. I mean, yeah, if you lose someone, like, they're gone. Even if you lose a character that's like important for the plot, you can't feel them anymore. Like even though they're still sticking around. Yeah. So yeah, if someone dies early on and you don't reset it, then yeah, prepare to drag until you basically get another version of that troop later. Wizards Duel. Ha! Zapadoo! Oh, that went pretty well for us. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, Citrine. Ooh. Okay, that went pretty well. Um, yeah, I also like I don't hate myself enough for this in these days. Yeah. Horseman says I consider myself a big XCOM fan. I've only ever beat the first new one once and never beat the second one. I did finish the second one, but I played it in easy mode. Just 100% like forget it. Forget about it. No way. Too hard. Let's see. How far? These guys are pretty far away. Um, Skippy says, my years of Pokemon have made me an expert save scummer. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, do I want to press here or do I want to let him come to me? There's way too many ranged attackers. So I need to get in their face. Oh, that's gonna deal too much damage. That's better. Ugh. Again, here's the unit that I want to raise up, but I placed her too far away, so now I can't really do anything with it. Oh, he's being chain guarded. Cool. I gotta kill his little friend first. Oh, I was talking about old 1 and 2 new XCOM games I think I did on normal without Iron Man thing. They felt more manageable on strategy part. Yeah, sure. Honestly, the thing that made like XCOM games like super hard as far as I'm concerned was all the base management. Chow. Okay. Now let's see if we can set that guy on fire. Oh, but I already used my attack. Oh well. Hey, little book guy. I got an axe with your name on it. There you go. Get out of here. Shoop. Melon says, like, you don't get rushed by big UFOs and tough enemies as soon as you get something good developed. Yeah. Skippy says, shouts out, Dragon Kid 11 finally hit 14,000 subscribers, 14K enlightened individuals, propping up the indie RPG community. Good for him, because I know that Dragon Kid had to take it back, to like scale back his videos just because he's like, yeah, I don't have any money. He's like, yeah, things are tough for Dragon Kid, so I'm glad that the more subscribers, the more ad revenue he gets, assuming that he monetizes his ads. Horse One Man says, yeah, I feel like the tactics portions are very intuitive. You kind of know what to expect, but the base building parts are so opaque. They really are, and it's like terrible because you can mess up. Like, you can mess up and mess up your game if you don't build your base the correct way. Alright, I'll set everyone else up back here to wait for everybody else to get here. Throw a knife at it. Put him on this side. Lightning says it's after midnight, after game night. I'm up way past my curfew. Oh no. Well, that's okay. Dragon Kid. So 11, like 1-1 Dragon Kid is a Lancer. They're like an indie game YouTuber, but they've done a whole series that's very good on Lancer. Where'd that horse rider go? One of my guys must have killed him while I wasn't looking. Like, nobody got killed, right? Okay. I was like, I lost track of that horse and I think it got killed. Okay, if one axe guy can make it to her, that's probably not bad. So yeah, 11 Dragon Kid is a YouTuber who does some Lancer stuff. I really like Obstruct. I don't think it's super useful, but I like doing it. Because it does kind of screw up their movement. Okay. This little guy is going to heal Citrine. Dragon Kid makes me want to become an admiral. I must lead my battle group into harrowing journeys and borders. I want to board all the enemies. Yeah, yeah. Dragon Kid's been doing stuff for Battle Group, which is a game that's based on Lancer. When Lancer came out, in the book, there's a passage about battles that take place in space, and it's really hardcore, like the way that they describe space combat. Something that you can't do in Lancer, because Lancer is a game about fighting robots, right? You can't take part in a large space battle. But what ends up happening is, like, you're a bunch of mechs that get, like, shot into another ship, right? And then while you're in that ship, you're supposed to, like, wreck things. You can play a Lancer episode that's like that. But people are like, but I want to play that, like, Starship combat. It sounds really badass. And so eventually they started a fan project to get that done, to be able to create that. And like a lot of Lancer fan projects, the Lancer guys came back and they're like, hey, do you just want to make this official? And so they did, and so it's like put out by Massive Press. It's called Battle Group. And so if you've listened to us talk about Lancer and you're like, well, I like it, but I don't know if I want to play a bunch of giant robots, or like, I don't know if I want to play a giant robot, how would you like to play a bunch of ships? Then you can play Battle Group. I haven't played it, so I can't, you know, I just never vouch for anything that I haven't played, but it looks good. How many attackers is this going to be? Nice. Lagna says, I am God's gift to Lancer fans because I actually run games. Amen. You are in the vanguard. Oh yeah, bonded shield. Let's do that. I'm meeting them like a little bit farther ahead because it's gonna take forever for them to like get over here. Everybody else can... We'll just end the turn. Everybody else can wait. Hacha! Oh, there you go. Lapis. Lapis is coming into her own. Good job. Lightness is the coolest person who's ever lived, says Skippy. Skippy says they have Lancer mechs that are basically unmanned torpedoes with an NHP barely maintaining sanity, so it can punch through holes and wreak havoc. Yeah, it's pretty good. Is it ethical? No. That's our girl. There you go. Wow, Lapis. You've really come a long way. Oof. Come on, Jade. Jade! I think if you lose... This is like a training exercise. If you lose a troop here, you don't lose it forever. But I still would prefer not to lose any of my troops. Yeah, okay, let's try that. We're gonna hit that chain guard. Yeah, this is what I want to do. Shibbity ha! Ethics and Lancer never met her. That's not true. Lancer can center the a conversation about ethics. It's just the ethics are blurry on purpose, right? It's like, can we as humans like purport to be enlightened while we still have sort of these like second-class citizen type creatures? Like it's fair. It's like it's a conversation. All my homies hate ethics. I don't watch a lot of white RPG stuff. Oh, YouTube RPG stuff. Okay. Most of it's bunk. 11 Dragon Kid's the exception for me. It makes me want to come out of retirement. They champion a game called Flying Circus, which looks sick as hell. Flying Circus does look good. Lagness, not the least, because 98% is about a system I never play. 1.5 is the actual plays that should really edit them. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I do not watch a lot of RPG content either. I really don't. Precisely for those reasons. Chain attack. Ha! I wonder how you would read YT aloud. I mean, that like people do that. Like some people will read white, like they'll use YT as a shorthand for white. So, do I want to put my armored person within reach of a spellcaster? The answer is no. She's fine here. She can wait. She gets a bonus for waiting anyway. Let's do bonded shield again. Uh-oh. I thought I healed her. I guess I didn't heal her that well. So this is another thing, right? You can, because it's so customizable, you have to work at it. You have to really work at like figuring out where everything needs to be. But like half of my troops, not half, but like a significant amount of my troops can just heal. Like they can use staves and heal, which is not something that they start with. Because I was like, well, I don't want to have like a completely dedicated healer. So I taught my healer how to use tomes so that they can attack, and I taught my flying knight and wizard to use staves so that they can be backup healers. Ironlands, yep. Yep. Oh, nice. That's probably why I wasn't worried. I was like, why did I leave this character with like fewer, like so little hit points? And it's like, it's because your main character, or the main character with the Lucina emblem, can like block for other people. Oh man, that griffin was going hog. Bird hog. Okay, I think these like 4 guys are the last of it, so I'm gonna see if I can... Yeah, first let's try to get some experience points for Lapis. She should be able to just wreck this guy, even if he has a spear. Close. Okay. Then we have this guy, and then those 2 over there. Can I get to them? Can I get to both of them? Oh, they're like chain guarding each other. Okay, I need to get the chain guard guy first. Actually, before I move anybody else, let me see if I can do all for one from My Hero Academia. No, it's different. But you do invite all your friends to attack. It turns all your friends into chain attackers. This dang YT guy. Yep. Free League was like a live update and Q&A every now and then that I usually tune into. Sure. Skippy says there's a really good Lancer community on Tumblr now that Twitter's doing that. Got a Lancer indie project peeps showing their progress. That's good, or their process. That's great. Yeah, I've seen some good stuff on Lancer Tumblr. So yeah, definitely. If you're on Tumblr, get on that. Okay. Oh, right. You can only chain guard if you're at full health. I'm gonna be really mad if like if we end up like with one character with one hit point and have to go a whole other round. Although that character will probably then just smash itself against something else. Can I get ETA out there? Yep. Okay. Good. Yeah, ETA is like my strongest character. I made her like a bow knight. So she has huge mobility. She has the canter ability, which allows her to then move again afterwards. So huge mobility plus huge range means that like Eti is like on the other side of the map, and it's like I need some like for sure damage to put something down. Just run over and do it. Eti is that girl. Okay, I'm gonna try to punch this Pegasus to death. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Wow! Pow 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 pow! Yeah. So your healer cleric types are martial artists now, which is cool. It gives them something else to do. Oh, I forgot you get extra XP for doing like an actual like a practice skirmish. So Lapis levels up. That's good. Enjoying all the different Everest interpretations. Yeah, that's fun. That dude didn't have as much as a stick. You had someone riding Griffin and laser shooting Lance. Yeah, that's true. Learn the class skill self-healing. Oh, nice. I think that means he can use stabs on himself, which is good. So earnings today. The characters do comment on their levels, so if they don't get very much, they like their if they don't if they don't get very many bonuses at level up, they comment, kind of do a little comment about it. Maybe not. Some of them do. Every little step counts, I guess. I should be grateful to have made it this far. We're all grateful for you, Lapis. We're trying to get you up to speed. Yeah, that's a good one. The knight suddenly grew quite strong. Tremendously strong, in fact. I do want to get into Jade's backstory so that I can see if she just, like, constantly narrates her own life. Like, Ted Mosby style. Okay. Why does that keep happening? Why does... I think Fire Emblem, like, cuts out the signal when it loads. Okay, let's save again. Okay. And I think that's going to be it for today. Not a super long stream today. Have my captions just not been working this whole time? Oh no, there they are. Not a super long stream today, just wanted to show off Fire Emblem Engage and talk about it a little bit. Mullen says, I like that characters know the concept of level ups. It's a little weird. It's a little meta, but it's okay. So yeah, everybody, thank you for joining me today. Remember that you can watch old or previous streams on Lopez Family Variety channel on YouTube. Here I'll do exclamation point white. And remember that you can always find me on Twitter at Fearsome Critter, and you can find me on Tumblr at magicturtle.tumblr.com. If you wanna see what I've been posting there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I will see you later. Seriously, the music. You had to end like 3 seconds before I said goodbye. You couldn't have just like waited like one little minute so that I could get a nice goodbye. Okay, fine, all right, whatever. Stream over.